So I'm going to speak today about how data-centric strategies create value. Value for marketers as individuals and value for our firms. I'm going to talk about it at a fairly tactical level with some specificity. But before doing that, I wanted to just briefly look at the issue through the strategic lens, because I think that's also important. So the strategic value of data lies in the fact that it's a source of uniqueness. And uniqueness is critically important because if your competitors are unable to appropriate what it is that you do, right, that gives you a tremendous source of bargaining power. Right? And that's why commodity offerings are priced low and unique offerings are often priced high. Right? Unique data, therefore, is a source of competitive advantage. And it could be data about your customers, data about your market, your prospects, your competitors. Importantly, when you're able to enrich your unique data with unique analysis, that's even better. That creates more differentiation, more competitive advantage. So I think by now we're all familiar with Terry Kawaja's eye chart that depicts the display advertising technology landscape. The important point that I want to make here is that as you look across all the firms listed here, nearly every one of them is attempting to differentiate themselves by leveraging unique data and analysis of that data in order to help marketers solve their problems. So it's a compelling data point that, again, helps illustrate the benefits of uniqueness and data-centric strategies for creating competitive advantage. Before I move on, I want to, as an aside, just highlight that if you get out a magnifying glass and look very closely, down there in the bottom, you'll see that Netiza's logo is in there. And if you look even more closely, I'm thrilled by this, you'll notice that none of our competitors made the cut. So again, another data point illustrating the benefits of uniqueness. So as we all know, and as Bruce just described, right, the very nature of marketing is changing, right, because marketing and data analysis are now inexorably intertwined. And what that means for all of us individually as marketers is that in the future, many of our most critical marketing challenges will in fact be technology challenges. So let's take a look at this short video that helps explain why this is true.
What we know about our planet, and particularly what we can know about each and every one of its inhabitants, increases, multiplies with every action and transaction that occurs. Today's technologies are fully capable of capturing relevant information about nearly all interactions occurring anywhere in the world. Unfortunately, this capability to collect information far exceeds our ability to make it work for us. Every day, a tidal wave of data hits systems in the face continually, without mercy, as it flows continuously from millions of individual interactions into the billions of high-volume, multifaceted data streams. This is information that is captured, but not necessarily tamed.
So taming that information, taming that data, is one of the most critical challenges that modern marketers face. Right. Now, fortunately, it's not only a challenge, it's also an opportunity, right? Because marketers that invest in analyzing that digital exhaust, that data, are able to better calculate the ROI on their multi-channel marketing campaign investments and make better decisions about how to allocate their spend across channels. It also enables smart marketers to leverage direct response and predictive analysis techniques in order to achieve dramatic increases in targeting precision and therefore in the performance of their campaigns. But of course, it's not easy. In fact, Forrester recently reported that 75% of CMOs are rearranging their teams this year in order to keep pace with the demands of digital media. As we talk to our customers, one of the most significant changes that we see CMOs making is that they're increasingly hiring people that look like this. Okay, so this is Hal Varian. He's a famous mathematician. He's a former Berkeley professor. He's now the chief economist at Google. And he attracted a lot of attention a few years ago when he started promoting this idea that the sexy job in the next 10 years will be statisticians. And the fact is, he's right. Mathematicians, statisticians, data scientists, they're increasingly moving out of the back office and into positions of significant leadership and influence in their organizations. And in fact, I would go so far as to say that every great CMO today needs to have one of these guys in their back pocket. Right? Now, the challenge is that these resources are scarce. Right? They're hard to find. In fact, in talking to our customers, what we see more often than not is that in-source versus outsource decision is really taking the back seat to the simple challenge of finding the talent. In fact, we have customers that are attempting to crowdsource this talent. Not that the crowds that are available to source from are particularly large, but what it means is that if you're a CMO of a firm that's based in LA and you find a world-class PhD statistician, or better yet, a team of statisticians that happen to be located in Romania or Russia, they don't want to relocate, you're going to find creative ways to make that work, right? Because the talent is the premium. So why are these resources so scarce? It's because the technologies and methodologies that are required to analyze big data didn't exist 10 years ago. Most of them didn't exist 5 years ago. In fact, if you look at this Google Trends chart on the term big data, you'll see that it only started gaining in popularity a couple of years ago. Similarly, if you look at this chart on the term analytics, you'll see it only started gaining in popularity, about 4 years ago? Which begs the question, what changed? Right? What initiated this trend? Well, before I give you my answer to that question, let me provide just a little additional context. Wikipedia defines big data as data sets that grow so large that they become awkward to work with using traditional database management tools. I love that word, awkward. So let me give you a specific example of this awkwardness that's relevant to marketers. So of course, it involves alcohol. Sampling can be a great thing if you're in a bar, you're talking about sampling beers, right? But sampling as a technique for digital marketers to analyze very large data sets, most often it's a terrible idea, right? And there are many reasons that that's true. Of course, it depends on the specific nature of the solution that you're pursuing. I'll give you one specific example, though. Sampling breaks attribution analysis. Right? If you're analyzing your campaign performance and the impression that you throw out of your sample happens to be the impression that tells you that it was your email channel or your display channel or whatever channel that was moving the needle on campaign conversions, your analysis is going to be flawed. Right? And the decisions that you make based on that analysis are going to be bad decisions, and your campaign performance is going to suffer. So just one example. Right? Back to my original question, what changed? Well, two things changed. The first was technology innovation in the area of massively parallel computing. And as an aside, that's where my company focuses. But this technology innovation dramatically reduced the awkwardness of analyzing large data sets. It's innovation in hardware systems and software systems that enabled a much broader audience of individuals to analyze larger data sets, right, with much higher performance, much greater simplicity, less awkwardness at a much lower price point. So that was the first change. The second was that the business value being created by that analysis grew to a magnitude such that the macroeconomic impact could no longer be ignored. So this is an article in The Economist talking about that macroeconomic impact. Put another way, business leaders began to recognize that, as Tim O'Reilly says, the company with the most data wins. Which brings me to a really important point. As our industry's conversation around this topic of big data continues, I think it's critically important that we all be mindful of the fact that it's not just about the big. Not just about data. That term big data, it encourages a focus on data volume, on data scale. The fact is, from a marketer's perspective, data only creates value when you're able to analyze it rapidly, gain new insights from that analysis, right, make better decisions as a result of those insights, and then act on those decisions. Right? So it's not so much about the big, it's really about performance. It's about reducing data latency. And in fact, reducing data latency is proven to create significant marketing value. The best example of this phenomenon that I've heard from our customers, it goes like this. The difference between marketing in real time versus traditional marketing is like the difference between watching your favorite game from the stands versus watching it later at home on TV. Right? Real-time marketing enables you to get closer to your customers, to react more quickly, to deliver a more compelling and interactive and relevant set of interactions with your customers. And as we all know, delivering those compelling interactions, those relevant interactions with your customers is more important today than it has ever been because the stakes are higher, right? We've all seen the amplifying effects of social media on consumer power. Right? It means that great marketing goes viral. Unfortunately, it also means that terrible marketing can go viral. So as marketers, it's more important than ever that we remain laser focused on delivering this one thing, relevance, right? Because relevance is what makes the difference between great marketing and terrible marketing. And as we all know, one size does not fit all. The fact is, marketing in real time increases relevance. And the good news for marketers today is that the data and technology now exists to deliver relevance in ways previously not possible. So, where should a marketer focus today in order to deliver this relevance? As we look across our customer landscape, there are really just 4 classes of problems that are consistently at the top of the list of priorities. They're solving the data aggregation problem, the segmentation problem, the matching problem, and the bidding problem. And the reason for this is simple. It's because marketers that invest in solving these 4 problems create an essential foundation for differentiating their firms from the competition and creating value in the form of strategic customer insight. So let's take a look at each of these in turn. First, the data aggregation problem. This is the problem, and you heard Bruce Beagle speak about this earlier. This is the problem that's created by the hugely fragmented marketing technology ecosystem that's required in order to solve our modern marketing problems. Simply put, our marketing tools don't talk to each other. Our search engine marketing tools don't talk to our web analytics tools. Our email marketing platforms don't talk to our buying platforms for display advertising. This creates critical problems for marketers, because as long as our marketing tools are operating on these independent data sets, much of the value in that underlying data is being lost. It makes it impossible to solve the attribution analysis problem. It makes it nearly impossible to deliver coherent, cohesive, relevant messages across a multi-channel marketing campaign. Smart marketers that are able to unify these data silos, right, are able to transform all of that underlying data into a strategic marketing asset. And importantly, the more quickly you're able to aggregate your data and analyze it and act on it, the more value you're able to create as a marketer. You're marketing in real time. Next, let's talk about the segmentation problem. Now, I know that I don't need to discuss the value of segmentation with an audience full of marketers, but I do want to highlight one important point, which is that in today's, our modern digital world, nearly every marketing channel is by definition a direct response channel. And what that means is that as marketers, we should all be incorporating all of that digital exhaust data that I referenced earlier into our segment definitions. And importantly, we should be constantly resegmenting with the most recently available digital exhaust data, because the audience behaviors reflected in that digital exhaust are constantly changing. And only by incorporating the most recent changes in that data into our targeting framework in near real time are we able to maximize campaign performance. So it's yet another example of a scenario in which increasing analytic performance, marketing in real time, translates directly into business value for marketers. So next we have the matching problem. Marketing is at its heart a matching problem, right? Marketers are constantly attempting to match the right message with the right person at the right time. And I really want to emphasize the importance of the time factor in that equation. The reason it's so critically important is that your target audiences are constantly moving through conversion funnels, right? And so delivering the relevant message, the right message to that target audience is highly dependent on their position in the funnel. So what that implies is that matching algorithms that take too long to analyze data that's too old simply are not good enough. Only by maximizing the performance of your matching algorithm are you able to maximize relevance and therefore campaign performance. So again, another example of a scenario in which marketing in real time creates value, right, for marketers. Lastly, we have the bidding problem. So marketers have been bidding in online auctions for search engine keywords for years now. We now have the ability to bid in real time on display advertising across large-scale ad exchanges. The exchange-based media buying model is only increasing in popularity. And this is important because it means that predictive analysis techniques are now required in order to optimize media buying. This chart shows an example of how price-volume forecasting can be used to predict the optimal bid in order to maximize the profitability of a campaign. And it's yet another example of a scenario in which increasing analytic performance in order to market in real time, it creates business value for marketers. So that's it, right? So in summary, as a marketer, if you leverage your human capital, your data, and your technology, you solve these 4 problems, life is good. You can go home.